A quick reaction to Real Madrid versus Mallorca.
Xabi Alonso a little bit stressed, but he didn't need to stress too much because in the end, Real Madrid would hold on for their third win in three in La Liga. Luis Garcia will watch in this game for us today. Let's get his thoughts on what he saw from Real Madrid. Another win for Xabi Alonso. He'd said before this game that they'd taken a step forward against Oviedo, and he wanted to see them take a step forward today, Luis. Did they?
And we wanted to see a little bit more consistency that we haven't had, because during the game we saw ups and downs of this Real Madrid. They were dominated for Mallorca, and at some points I think the Real Madrid had under control the game. But even though we saw three goals disallowed for Real Madrid, one of them, for me, my opinion, and from the way that I see football, it should have been stood the one from Arda, Guler, the one who hit the hand. I think that one, there is no intention over there, but yeah, I understand the rules, so I have nothing more to say. But I think that we wanted to see a little bit more of this Real Madrid, more aggressive, more intense, a little bit more creative in the last third. We saw a good Arda Guler in the middle of the park. We saw a little bit of Mbappe, just sparks of it, not much about Vinicius Jr., a few sparks when the Real Madrid needed a reaction in the first 45. But he played with fire, and he's not the first one. Let's don't forget the results in the last couple of games has been similar, very close, just deciding the games in the last minute. So we were expecting a bit more from Real Madrid, that today, once again, got the result, but probably not the best of this game.
To be honest, if we look at our performance today, I just have to agree what Luis Garcia just said. Like, we have done what we had to do, just get the 3 points. But in terms of performance, there are a lot of points to tackle about. There are a lot of negatives. There are also some positive. But overall, the performance-wise, this is not what we are expected to see from Xavi's Real Madrid. As Garcia pointed out, we were somehow lackluster, given that it is expected that under Xabi, we will play much higher intensity match and much better than last season. So not in that term, not that good. But again, at the end of the day, you just cannot win every game with high intensity, playing beautiful football. And don't forget, whenever you play a team like Mallorca, was very defensive in my opinion, even at 85th minute, they were lacking one goal. They were one goal behind, and there were still 5 men defending and 4 players at midfield. So 5-4-1 formation, so which also makes difficult for us to break and to score goals. Again, this will be normal for La Liga, so we have to get away with playing like this sometimes. But at the end of the day, we have to be optimistic. Hopefully, in the future matches, we will play much better.
We're finding their feet, Ale.
You asked Luis if Real Madrid had taken a step forward in this match. The answer is no. Are you familiar with the electric slide, side shuffle? That's what they did today. They went sideways. They did not go forward in terms of the evolution of this team. In fact, we see the tackle from Alexander, the save from Carreras. There is an element of good fortune to Real Madrid actually getting the 3 points today. I will go as far as to say, and it's something that Stewie was saying in the comment, called it that the game had drifted away. At halftime, I said that Real Madrid had a lull in the first half. That lull became the whole of the second half. And it's so clear to see when they are playing with a certain level of urgency and intensity when they're not. Because when they are dominant. The first 10 were dominant. It was all too easy for Real Madrid, but they were the field, they were forcing turnovers, they were dictating the game. And half, they were all too happy. We just we keep the ball there. If we get forward, maybe we'll create some. There isn't that same commitment to go over there, which is a trademark of what with Bayer Leverkusen, a willingness to go and press of the field, to win it in that half, to maintain pressure. That has to happen over the course. Real Madrid only do it every so.
Again, as I said already, the performance wasn't there as we expected. However, there's something we have to talk about. Okay, let's discuss first 15 minutes of this game. Probably first 15 minutes of this game was the best moment for the whole match. Like, we were playing really fast, really some good long pass from Alexander Arnold, Like some of the pass to Mbappe was incredible. The first goal that was taken away because of the offside by Mbappe, that was really beautiful. The pass, first of all, the good thing was the pass. The second good thing was that the control by Mbappe, and then the finish. If that would not be an offside goal, that's the type of goal we'd like to see between these two players combo. Arnold to Mbappe and goal. Simple as that. Again, first 15 minutes is only time I felt like, okay, we saw something different. And the next 15 minutes, I don't know what happened. Mallorca scored a goal somehow, and then we just lost the momentum. Like we saw typical Real Madrid that we saw last season. Now, for that goal, I just do not understand. Three different players of Real Madrid, Chouameni, Tyson, and Militao, all three were competing with each other. And as a result, they scored the goal. I think we should communicate better when we defend, especially when opposition team has a lot of tall players like Mallorca. And then the next 15 minutes again was good. Like last 15 minutes of the first half was really good. Like we had much higher intensity and we were attacking so well. And the second half is the one that I have problem with. I have so many questions. What happened in second half? Why we dropped our performance so low? Why our performance so why our performance went so downhill after second half? Like I don't get it. It's like typical Carlos time. Like first half you play really good and second half you play just shit. Again, we have to stop this. Also, another point we have to discuss is that pressing. We expect our team to be pressing well and with it, with a purpose, not just random pressing. Today, if you look at the pressing today, we see our forwards, all players are running towards opposition players and towards the ball. They're trying to press. I just feel there was a lack of coordination. When you press, you just cannot just run towards the ball and go more players towards the ball or other team. You have to have a purpose and have to be coordinated. Say, for example, if Mbappe is pressing, say, for example, Vinicius cannot slack. He also has to go tackle the other players and block the passing options. Somehow, we still need to improve this pressing. We still don't see the high intensity pressing all the Real Madrid fans were dreaming since Xabi joined.
That were. I know that you guys had your own thoughts on.
I think this falls right in the degree of the law as it's written. And apparently when this, I'm laughing. When this first came up, thinking was you didn't want scored even with a handball. Ball does hit Arda Guler. I know the discussion then becomes goal scorer. Is that the same the second phase of play because it comes off his goal? The goalkeeper makes a save and he had that rebound. He makes a save and it forces Kylian Mbappe to score. The goal stands. Quite clear. The goal stands and goes straight into the goal.
So let's discuss this. Arda Guler's so-called handball. As a result, the goal was taken away. When you look at social media, like Instagram or on Reddit, I see even Barca fans are complaining that this should be a goal. That's when you should realize that this was a mistake by the referee. Now, the rules, we know that there are certain rules we have to take consideration of. There are a lot of things that we, as a fan, do not agree. But is it rules? Let's discuss. First of all, to be in handball, first of all, the first element we have to talk about is deliberateness, right? How intentional it was. Now, if you look at others' handball, so-called touching the ball, was it intentional? Absolutely not. Now, he cannot cut his arms. The only way that doesn't become an handball is he cuts his arm. That's not a feasible option, right? Second, arm position. Was it an unnatural or expanded position or making the body bigger? Absolutely not. So 1 and 2, you can totally discount it, right? There's no point of discussing this because none of them exist, what we saw. Third, distance and reaction. Could the player reasonably avoid the ball? Absolutely not. Arda did not have enough time to react, how fast it was, right? And it was not like our player had a pass and touched Arda. If that could be the case, okay, I can see that. But that's not the case, right? And last, impact on play. Did the handball immediately create a goal scoring opportunity? Yes, it did, right? However, you also have to take consideration of all the other points and combine all of them together. I think there should be a goal. I mean, I just do not understand the football rules. Just because it touches your arms and that's a handball, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Thing back and this whole handball situation. The players on the field don't know the rules, don't know the laws of the game as it pertains to this particular interpretation of the law of the game. Because every Real Madrid player, and in particular and specifically Arda Guler, say, no, I have my arms over here. Well, if it is in a sequence of a goal and you end up being the goal scorer, it doesn't really matter that you have your arms over here. Now, I'm not for the law, and those people that were sitting in that room writing that law, this guy, what are you guys doing? Regardless, the point being, the players are not clear. They're not 100% clear. Even when they're making their argument to the referee, it's not a correct argument because their argument does not apply to this specific play.
Yes, okay.
So, how come players be so clear about the rules when the rules is not the same every match? It's different every game. When we don't have consistent rules for handball or even penalty, when we have make a penalty after touching your arms, we don't have a consistent rules. So how do players know? So they don't know anything about the rules because we don't have consistent rules. That's the problem.
Anyway, in the end, it was a win for Real Madrid before the international break. But I did want to talk about Vinny Jr. today here, Luis, because he said it maybe wasn't his best shot today. We saw him come off the bench in the last game. He had that assist. He got the start today. What's your overall assessment of what we did see from him, and what will Xabi Alonso be thinking after this?
Well, we are talking about the third game of the season. We are talking about that the last game, Vinny Jr. was his opportunity to get back into the 11 and to that opportunity. The reaction from Real Madrid, I think, important in this game. After 15 minutes, they realized a bit more. A little bit came from Vinny Jr., who are receiving the ball and play as on 1v1 situation, and that fantastic shows his ability to create and finisher. But after that, we saw a very great Vinny Jr. We didn't see him one aggressive going forward with getting the ball or that intensity in the ball. I think that's what Xabi Alonso is.
I don't know what's going on today. Again, I have to agree with Luis today about Vinny's performance. I don't think it was a good performance. Yes, he scored a beautiful, almost a solo goal, and that's what we have to give credit. But that's the only participation I have seen from Vinny. Vinny's performance went back before last match. Last match was good, but before that, we saw a Vinny who lacked confidence and not participating enough. We saw exactly the same Vinny today. I did not like the way he was defending. Like he was just walking oftentimes. I don't like those kind of involvement. I want to see him more aggressive, being more creative, and taking on players, dribbling. Like how? When's the last time we saw Vinny taking on players and dribbling the way we used to see during the play, say when bands used to play, like when Vinny, we think about Vinny, that's the Vinny we think of, a player who is not afraid going forward, who is not fear of other opposition player, who doesn't mind dribbling multiple players. But somehow, he seems he lost all of them. So that's one point. Another point, I still do not like the way we have chemistry between Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. Carlo could not find a solution to play both of them together and having both of them having good chemistry. Xabi still have the same issue. The problem is that against weaker team, you can get away with this, not having a good chemistry. However, when you play against a very strong team, you just cannot let it happen. You will be exposed. Both of the players have to play together as a team, and we have to find a solution how we can utilize both of them at the same time, because both of them on their day are probably the best players in the world in their respective position. And we still don't see both of them playing superb at the same time. And that is problematic. And that's one thing that we still have to think about going forward. How can we get best out of this duo? If we can, if Xabi can solve this problem, we will be definitely the so-called deadliest team in the world. However, can we see? I do not know. I even personally do not have an answer. Personally, if I be coach, I don't see how they can play together and we also defend really well because whenever both of them playing together, there's some slacking in defending. Now, both of them are sluggish when it comes to defending. Vinny sometimes walks, he wants to defend, does sometimes, but he's not consistent. Being said that, another point I saw today, when Rodrigo came in, I just feel the chemistry between Mbappe and Rodrigo feels more natural. But with Vinny and Mbappe, it doesn't feel natural. Like somehow there's something missing. Like even today, when Vinicius was running with the ball, Mbappe doesn't know what to do. Does he wants to make a run? Does he want to go behind the position players? He doesn't know. He just struggled. But whenever you see Rodrigo came on, whenever Rodrigo is playing or Mbappe have the ball, they just feel like they know what to do. They have better link up somehow than Vinicius with Mbappe versus Rodrigo with Mbappe.
That same argument that Luis is making about, say, for example, Rodrigo coming off the bench as well, because obviously he now seems to be in direct competition with Vinny Jr. At least that's the way that the decision making has been by Xabi Alonso. And so you have Vinny, who had some high moments in scoring the goal, but a lot of low moments as well during the match. And so in comes Rodrigo. I'm coming off the bench. Let me make the same sort of impact that, say, for example, Vinny had last week against Oviedo. And it's just a whole lot of not quite there. Now, I'm talking about Vinny. I'm talking about Rodrigo. I can utilize that same description about many players on the field. Like, not quite there. The whole of the midfield for Real Madrid, not quite there just yet. The one player that I think has been consistently dynamic in the 3 matches and consistently a threat has been Kylian Mbappe. But what he has to be careful with is that he doesn't fall to the level of what the other players have been so far, that he maintains this level, because what happens is when the team is lacking energy and intensity and urgency, he tends to come down to, let's knock the ball here. This 5-yard pass is when he's most dangerous, when he's running behind, as he was over the course of the first 45 minutes. Real Madrid has done just enough to win these 3 matches. 9 points, you take it, you go into the international break. But they have to improve dramatically. They have to continue to take steps forward, not sideways. That's Xabi Alonso. That's him saying it, not me. This was not a step forward today.
Not today, but
So as much as Ella is being dramatic with those emotion and reaction, the way he expressed the words, I have to agree that all of the players today who played were not their best. That's why we are complaining the second half performance, right? Otherwise, why we would be complaining that second half was lackluster? It's not what we expect to see from Real Madrid, right? That's the only reason. And being said that, yes, every player has to step up. Everyone has to play much, much better than what we have seen today. And none of the players today I can think of I can say, oh, this player was good. Every other player, not good. No, everyone was not their best. Simply say that. Our defense, although they did not have to do much, as say, for example, Mallorca did not create a lot of chances. They had a few good chances, but not many chances. But that's not totally unexpected from Mallorca, given the history of them being a defensive team. At the same time, even it's a home game, I was expecting much better performance from Real Madrid. At the end of the day, hey, 3 points is 3 points. Sometimes you have to accept poor performance, especially second half. That's part of our life, right? We don't expect every match to be really entertaining. That's fine. Although there are many people I saw in social media think it was okay, enjoyed their performance. As I said, it's perspective, right? Some people will say it's good. Some people will say it's not good. For me, as a Real Madrid, I expect much better. And the last point I'll clearly mention about, I still have some doubt about our midfield. Currently, Chouameni, Fede, and Guler. yeah, this is okay midfield. I still just do not know how they will perform against bigger teams. I just feel there's some lacking at midfield. Like Arda is filling up the holes that Cruz created since Cruz's departure. We don't have someone who can do good passing. Arda can fill up some of the space, but still there's some lack of chemistry at midfield. I just feel our team needs more time so that players can understand what Xabi wants to, what philosophy Xabi wants to implement in this team. Will need more time. We have to be more patient and wait and see. Once we play bigger opponents like Barca, Liverpool, Man City, then we'll get to know how this team play. Because this team, the way, if you see the players, I just feel they will play much better against a team that likes to attack rather than a team that just like to defend. Say Man City, Liverpool, or Barca would have much more space, then we can exploit the space. So many players can do long pass. We can have Arda, we have Arnold, do some long pass to Vinicius or Mbappe. Then we might see some difference, actual difference. Then we will know how this team is compared to other teams of the world. Anyway, let me know, what did you think about our performance today?